show a quick video of me building a model in Matrix 9. I'll commentate a little bit, but then we'll get into building in MatrixGold. So I'm going to try and design a split shank. So as always in Matrix, you start with a gem. I'm going to do a split shank halo ring, so I'm starting with the halo just so I know how high to bring my split shank up. So I'm building the halo, making sure the width and everything is okay, and then I'm going to make a surface. So with that surface, I'm going to extrude it. I like to have my halos taper a bit, so I'm extruding it to a point of F4, and it's going to give a nice taper, and then I'll just come behind and cut the bottom off of it, like so. And just remove the excess. So now I have a nice tapered halo. I like to fillet my edges just because it allows for a better casting and much smoother look. So I do that, and then we're going to hop ahead to a finished halo. This is the same halo I was just working on, just finishing it up with prongs. And now we can get into the split shank. So I'm going to use curve from 2View. That's probably the easiest to build a split shank in Matrix. So here are the two rails that I will use to sweep my profiles. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I make sure everything is aligned and has a nice taper. Okay, so now that my curves are done, I need to profile place. Right, so this is how you create a surface in Matrix. So as I'm profile placing, I have to move it up on the two rails, and then we can get the thicknesses we want and eventually sweep them. So I'm going to add another profile, pull it up to the top. So this will be the very top shoulder of the split shank. So this is pretty much the outline of what it's going to look like. So I want it to make a nice sweep up. So I'm going to angle it a bit and pull the points just to make sure it's on the finger rail and that it's perfect. Okay, so this is with the sweep done. This is the same curves that I had used. And then you can see I'm completing the whole ring. And then the stones. So now I need to make a channel. There's no really easy way to complete a split shank in Matrix. You kind of have to piece together things. So that's kind of what I'm doing. So the stones are on the split shank. Now I need the channel. So you can see I have two channels, and then I have to make a third for the bottom. So now I booleaned, mirrored the stones, but they're still a little wide, so I re-edit them, pull it down, and then mirror them back to the other side. Then I run prong placer just like I did previously. And then mirror those. So this is with the prongs pretty much completed. Now I just need to mirror them over to the other side. So now I need to cut my gem cut. So I bring out the gem cutter and I can boolean the surface. Boolean just means a deduction from the surface. So I boolean with the gem cutters and you can see the divots. So now we need to work on the bridge. Gonna mirror it to the other side first, and that's the mirrored complete. So now we need the bridge. I'm gonna use a square profile and just sweep it across the bridge to complete it. So you can see total design time was 30 minutes and 45 seconds for a split shank ring in Matrix 9. So let's move over to MatrixGold. Okay, so I actually have a timer here, so I can start it whenever I'm ready. But first, I'd like to encourage you guys to ask questions. I will start the timer and get into building. Okay, so to start a split shank, I'm going to go into the tool section, and we have a nice easy command. It's called split shank. If you select it, it populates something like this in your viewport. So we made a command that pretty much does all the thinking for you, right? So all I need now is to turn the bridge toggle on and to adjust the viewport control handles to how I would like it. So let me pull these viewport handles a little bit. This ball will open the split or close the split depending on how far I want it. So let's make the side thickness 2 millimeters. Let's make the bottom thickness, let's do 1.8, and the top 1.6. Okay, so now I can pull the shoulders up and angle them how I would like. So let's do something like that. Pull it up a bit more. And that looks about right. So I'm going to select the Gem tab under Dynamic Commands, and this will open up another set of options. So here I can control the width of the stones. I think previously I had 1.2s, and then I can control where they actually start. So let's bring it up a bit, about there, and let's make them end about a quarter of the way. Okay. Let's make sure our spacing is good. The spacing is 0.2, which is good. And it's 0.2 millimeters at the split as well. So let's go over in the dynamic command to the metal tab. So here you will see a toggle. So I can select that toggle, pull the start down just a bit, and you see it presents me with a metal. I'm going to bring this all the way down to halfway point. What I'm inevitably going to do is just mirror it to the other side, right? So let's do this. I think the split is a bit too much, so I'm going to close it. Okay, so now I want a half round profile. So I select the black box with the profile, and it opens up the profile library. I'm going to select 3 because that's more of a half round, and select. So you can see it automatically adjusted my profile to a half round. So here in the metals tab, we can further customize it. So the gem overlap, we don't really need a gem overlap because we want it prong set. So I'm going to do -0.1, and you see it open the channel up. So these channel walls are a little thin, so I'm going to go to wall thickness and do like 0.6. That looks pretty good. So we are pretty good here. So I'm going to right click and accept the command. And you can see I have 1/2 of a split shank, right? So I'm going to select the profile that it presented to me, and I will profile cap it. Just means to put a cap on the end. Do it to 0.5, and then I will take it and mirror it to the other side. So under transform, we have the mirror command. So I want it mirrored over the x-axis to go to the back side. So the x-axis is already selected, so we are good there. going to right click to accept the command, and now I have a closed solid. So I need to put prongs, right? So I'm going to select all the prongs I want to place, go under settings, and prong place them. So you can see the ends are a little off kiltered, but we can get to those shortly. So let's pull the viewport handles to adjust our stones a bit. And that is good for the inside stones. So let's go to end. So here we have different options. I'm going to select the second to last, and it will straighten the prongs out. And I will right click to accept. So now I'm going to select the stones below the split and prong place these. I don't need to select this one because it will already put two stones right here to set that center stone. So let's pull the viewport handles to make these how we would like them. Let's pull it up a little bit more just because these are a little bit bigger. There we go. And we can right click and accept. So now we have pretty much one half and then the bottom. So now I need to take these and mirror them to the back side. So we're going to do it the same way we did the profile cap. So I'm going to go in transform, mirror, and it's going to go over the x-axis once again. So I right click and accept, and now my prongs, channel, and split shank are done. So next we need a stone. So the easiest way to put a stone on the model is to start with a gem on ring rail. So I select the command, and in the command line it says select the ring rail. This is going to be my ring rail. So I'm going to pull the location where I want and then pull it higher. The offset isn't quite what I would like, so I want it to go a little bit higher. So the Z offset I'm going to change to 8, maybe 8.25. That'll give enough spacing for my, let's go to 8.5. So that'll give enough spacing for my halo. I'm going to change the width to about a 7.5 and right click to accept. So now I need a halo. So I select the gem and then click the halo button, and it presents me with this. So here you see it has more viewport handles. So here you can pull the handles how you would like them. I'm going to reduce the stone size a bit, angle it, reduce, keep that spacing, pick it up a bit, and then I can go in to the Halo tab under the dynamic command. Here it'll open up more viewport handles, channel spacing, thickness, so let's pull the thickness up a bit. Let's take in the channel walls, let's go to about 0.5. Okay, so I want the height to be a little less. The viewport handle only allows me to go to 1.5. So I will change it to 1.25. And that's pretty close. So I'm going to drop it down just a tad. So I'm going to go back to cluster, pull the placement down to about 1 millimeter, and right click to accept. So now I have a halo and a split shank. So we need a head on the center stone. So let's go under settings, select the center stone, and select the head button. So I'm going to pull the viewport handles once again to how I would like them. There's more options under the dynamic command. So currently I have two rails. I'm going to use the gallery rail as, I'm going to use the halo as my gallery rail. So I don't need any. So let's go down to the rails slider and just go to 0. So now I need to pull the bottom of the prongs up, reduce the thickness just a bit, and pull them down just a bit more, and then we can go to the level 2. So the level 2 will give you more customizing options. So here, for the first time in Gym Vision software, you can create a set look to your heads. I do that by extruding the prong dome height and then turning it towards the stone. And I can also pull the base of my prong in a bit so it doesn't intrude into my channel. Do something like that, right click, and you can see it put nice prong settings. Okay, so now we need to take it and mirror it to the other side. So I'm going to select everything I want to mirror, go back to transform, select dynamic mirror. So currently it's mirroring over the x-axis. So if I accept it, I would just have two on top of each other. So I need to remove that one and mirror over the y. So the y-axis is the one going up and down right now. So it's taking it and mirroring it to the other side. So I'm in the command going to right click to accept, and it shoots it over to the other side. So I can see, looking from a through view, that it's a little pinched in the middle. So the power of dynamic history is the ability to readjust. So I'm going to select what I want to adjust, which is the split shank, right? And I'm going to edit. So here I can pull the split shank out a bit. I can turn it out. Can pull it in. Let's pull it into the halo a bit more. Let's go to ring rail. I'll pull this up a bit so it's not as pinched. And then I'll just pull this out one more time. Pull it down. And pull it out one more time. So you can see I need to come back and re-edit my prongs, but with parametric history, that's no problem. There we go. So I can right click and accept, and then the changes I just made will take effect. So now I need to redo these prongs because what happened, it took a stone away, so I just need to go ahead and redo them. So let's reselect these, rerun the prong placer, go back down to end, select the second to last, and then we can adjust the prongs how we would like. There we go. So now let's select these three. prong place. And adjust everything how we would like it. And now I can once again mirror these prongs over to the back side. Right click. Just gonna select this side and delete it. So now I'm going to take this again and mirror it over to the other side. Right click and accept. So now we have a nice fitting halo split shank. So now I need to finish the bridge, right? So we're going to profile place this bridge. So I can go to tools, select profile place. I'm going to select a square profile. Let's edit and let's adjust the size and thickness. So here in the profile placer, we implemented an activate auto sweep. So I can select that and it will automatically sweep the bridge for me. So right clicking will accept. I think the stone is a little tall, so I'm going to edit and I will go down to the Z offset and let's change it to 8. Right click and accept. So now I need to select my stones because you see it's coming through the channel. Go to cutters, select channel cutter, increase the width, bring up the height a bit, and right click. So now I'm going to tools, solid, sorry, and I'm going to boolean, which means deduct the orange from my shank. So boolean, those two with this one. I think it's happening because it's not joined. So let's join them. We'll go to tools and we will dynamically join them. Right click. Let's try it one more time. So let's go to boolean. I think this one will work out a bit better. There we go. You can see on this side it deleted it. I'm going to have to come back here and rejoin them. So I'm going to hide my halo temporarily. Select my shank, this surface, that surface, and join this side. Right click. So now I can bring my halo back and I will boolean these once more. So let's, in the boolean command, select boolean difference, right click, and now it took out the part that was sticking through the channel. So this is a pretty close representation. Currently, I've saved about 12 minutes. It may be a little longer. It's up to the designer on how fast they go. But typically you can expect that. Now, what the true power of MatrixGold is the parametric history, right? So here I can come here to split shank and edit the finger size. And sorry, I hit it. Edit the finger size. Right click, so now I have a 7.5. Can come here, edit, and go smaller. Let's go to a 5.5. Right click, and now I have a 5.5. Let's say the customer likes it, but wants it in a cushion. You can select that, change it to a cushion, and now you have a cushion halo ring. So that's honestly the power of parametrics. Even though I changed the stone shape and size and even gem count, the channel that I deducted the ends from still snaps back. So you can see it's still cut even though everything has changed. So I have one more thing to show. So I'm just going to start with a ring rail. Right click to accept, and then I'm going to do an outside ring rail. So here it opens up a dynamic command. I can select the outside shape. So the customer wants more of a gent style Euro shank with channel stones going across the top, right? So let's adjust the thickness. And that seems good. So I have another question. Are files interchangeable between Matrix 9 and MatrixGold? Do they both save 3DMs? Again, that's a good question. Yes, they do, Michael. You can import Matrix 9 files into MatrixGold, or you can export MatrixGold files to Matrix 9. They are both 3DMs. The only difference is MatrixGold runs off of Rhino 6. So anytime you save a model and want to go back to Matrix 9, you have to export it as a Rhino 5 3DM, which is very simple. You just select export, sorry. Down here, you just select Rhino 5 and save it, and then I would be able to open it inside of Matrix 9. Does that answer your question? So like every model, I'm going to profile place. So it's asking me to select a curve. I select the curve and put one too many. So I'm going to relate this curve to the outside to retain that shape. So I'm going to select the outside curve and apply it into the box. So here I want to do more of a square profile. That way we can flow a nice channel. So let's make the top width about 7.5. So now our new profile placer, the way it works, it follows your initial curve around. So if you see the little ball, everywhere I click, it will add another profile. Now that's way too many, but you can always come back if you put too many and delete them. And in the same breath, if you want to adjust them, click the little locator ball and it will open up that profile to be adjusted. So here I want to change it to more of a rounded shank to be comfortable on the finger. And you can see I have a nice taper, right? So I'm going to go to surface and select sweep 2. So here it's saying select my rails. I'm going to do the first rail, then the outside, then the top, then the bottom. So here it puts something kind of awkward looking, but if I select the close toggle and then maintain height, it will make a nice uniform taper. Let's go to caps. All the caps should be turned off and right click to accept. So now we need to put stones. There's multiple ways to put stones on a surface. You can do gem on surface, but the most common way is to extract an ISO curve and then put stones on that curve. So here I have extract ISO curve from surface. So if I click it, it's going to automatically find the surface and give me a line. So here we have a few viewport handles. We have angle and we have point on surface. So the new way of doing ISO curve, we essentially get a point and we can angle it any way we want. So you can extract ISO curves at angles, which is pretty neat. You've never been able to do that, so that's pretty cool. So let's make sure it's at 0.5, which will be the middle of the surface. And right click. So I'm going to hit the little eyeball and hide my ring rails just because they were overlapping. So now let's put gems on that curve. I'm going to select my ISO curve I just extracted and do gems on curve. So let's start them about, let's do the 2 o'clock maybe. So now we will leave them in the middle, right? And then we will select the mirror. Sorry, I couldn't find it. So the mirror will put a dot, and it will mirror anything on this side to that side. All right, so let's do this and going to taper it a bit. So let's make these a little bit bigger and let's make these even larger. Maybe not that large. Let's do 3 to 3.5. So as I pull this side, you can see the other side extending as well. All right, so now let's go into the surface and you see it's snapping because it's smart enough to understand that my stones are too close. So I can come here, reduce the size a bit, and then pull down to where it snaps another stone in place. There we go. So if I go to wireframe mode, you can see all my stones are there. They're not touching, but they're close for channel set, right? So I can right click and accept. I'll go back to plastic, select my gems once more, and then run a channel cutter on them. So I need to bring it out of my surface a bit. I will do a width and extend it a bit. So I'm going to taper the start. It's hard to see because it's in the surface. But if I taper it, you can see it puts a nice ending on it. Let's make sure the width is okay. Let's pull the width in a bit more because we're doing channel set, right? So let's do 90 and right click. So if I go back, you can see it put a nice channel there, right? So let's go ahead and Boolean, right? So let's Boolean, select my surface, right click, select my channel, and right click once more. So again, I'm going to do the Boolean difference. And there you can see a live update. If I right click, it will accept the command and you can see it put the stones inside of the channel that we created, right? So now we need pilot holes. So let's go ahead, select the stones. I'm going to go gem cutters. So here it opens up a pretty big option, right? So these two are overlapping, so I'll probably delete the corner ones and just do those as regular gem cuts, right? So let's pull this in a bit so it doesn't eat my channel. And let's pull the placement down a bit. Let's pull it down to 100% and the thickness down. And that's good right there. So now I'm going to select these two and just delete them. So now we can Boolean. So I'm going to go to solid and boolean once more. First surface will be my shank. Second will be all of my cutters. Right click and again go to difference. So here you can see it put pilot holes. If I right click and accept, and then I can turn that layer off, you can see it made the pilot holes, right? So then I can just come back, select these, rerun the gem cuts, except I'll pull that up a bit. Let's go to wireframe so we can see what we're doing. Do something like that. So right click will accept, but they're hidden. So if I bring them back, I'll just rerun that boolean command, select those two instead, and difference once more. Right click. So these I'm just gonna, let me find them. These I'm just going to gv hide, which hides them from the document so you can see without them. There we go. Okay, so now the power, again, of parametrics. Let's say your customer likes this, right, but wants princess stones. Okay, so you can select the gem on curve. Let's select princess. Right click, and you have princess stones. Let's say he likes them but wants them a little closer. You can re-edit the command. Pull the start position up a bit. Go to wireframe so we can see. Right click. There we go. And you have channel set princess stones. So let's say they want a larger finger size. You can re-edit. Let's see what a finger size 10 looks like. You can see the boolean's updated and I'm a finger size 10 now.